Hello and welcome to That Pedal Show.
And today we're looking at 11 classic effects combinations. Right on the ear. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
Right, we're looking at some classic effect combinations.
Yeah, there are many.
There are many.
So we've tried to pick a few, and who knows, there may be a follow-up in the future if we don't pick your particular favourite of ring modulator and reverse reverb.
Yeah, let us know on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well let's...
Why are we doing this, Dan?
I was watching some videos, as you do, and I was looking at this video from Paul Gilbert, who has new overdrive pedal. And he was talking about the way that he uses some of his pedals in, together. And he had a couple of revelations on his pedal board. And I thought, yeah, wouldn't it be... let's just go through. I think we take it for granted, and people who've been doing this for a while take it for granted that, we know that chorus and compression and delay and reverb and that sort of stuff. We sort of take it for granted that we sort of know that. But there's a lot of people out there that I think will benefit from hearing and why those sort of things go together.
So we're going to combine no more than two effects.
Yeah.
And we're going to get some sounds going. Some of them you kind of might, you can hang your hat on the fact that they have been used in classic records. We won't play any classic riffs because it's not really what we do. But you'll recognise some of the combinations, and hopefully it will inspire you to try some combinations and get some new sounds that you haven't tried before.
Yes.
That's literally the point of it, isn't it?
Yes.
We're not saying this sounds like Jeff Beck, this sounds like Jimmy Page. That's not why we're here. We're here to go, try these two things together, and you just never know.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Very, very fair.
I like to be fair, Dan.
Okay.
All right, number one, delay and reverb.
Yeah, so, it's one that I think is, for a lot of us, it's like, of course, delay and reverb, but, why is it delay and reverb? Why is it that delay and reverb go so well together? So if we just pull up a standard delay sound, if you could have strong R's for us.
I will. Our amplifiers today are Dan's Matchless HC30 and the Matchless ESD cabinet.
Very good.
And then he's using Kettner Pure Tone, which we haven't used for ages, and it's a 2x12 cabinet.
And it's sounding spectacular.
Both very direct, unforgiving amplifiers.
Yeah, no reverb in the amps either
yes,
today.
So the amps are totally dry, sound like this. It's just like fairly brutal in the ear hole.
Yeah.
To quote George Clinton.
Okay, right. So we're going to add some delay to that sound.
Yep.
Okay, so this is using the Echo system from Empress. This is one of their tape algorithms. Now, the sound of that, it's beautiful. Already, where we've got some space, we've got some room around the note. We've already stepped away from that really flat sound, okay? What happens when we put that in reverb is those repeats. If you have listened to, when you're playing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick the reverb in, and you'll hear the repeats suddenly stop being a wash just behind the sound, and the repeats will sort of stand out sort of on their own a bit more. So if you just play and I'll kick some reverb in on top of that.
Just hear the reverb without the delay for a sec. This is quite a short reverb.
That's quite a short reverb. So you don't have to go crazy with the reverb. If what you're after is for those delays to stop just being a wash and start to and sort of be a little bit more separated.
It's very subtle.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but it's, you know, when you start adding gain and things as well, it...
Just out of interest, what if you did have a massive wash of reverb?
Okay.
I love it.
It's great, isn't it?
I love it really. I really love it really washy.
Right.
But I guess that's when you start to fall out of the mix
Yeah.
and all of that. So you've got that space in between, just a little bit of room around it, and then washy.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's great, isn't it? That's very cool.
Yeah, and takes that very sort of hard sounding, flat, uninspiring to this kind of... It actually encourages you to want to play less notes, I think.
Yeah, right.
Which is always a good thing.
Definitely. Okay, that was number one.
Number two, a dimension style chorus and compressor.
Okay.
What are we talking about here then?
Right, so let's have a listen to the Dimension C.
Yeah.
So this is, you've had this on your board for, as soon as you got this, it hasn't left your board.
Not my big board, no.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
This is the Dimension C outside. Beautiful. Okay. Now, I've got the Dyna Comp here. The reason I've chosen the Dyna Comp is it's not one of these compressors that has a blend and it's a really subtle thing. It's a very much a compression effect.
Yeah.
Right. So with the comp. Right. Everything's so...
Not exactly the fastest compressor in the world, is it?
No, absolutely. But listen to what happens. So when I combine that with the chorus, with the Dimension C in particular...
It's 1980 3 and 4 all over again.
Yeah,
and 86,
it becomes more like a
88.
pad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's such a great sound.
I mean, I feel like I'm hearing The Cure. I feel like I'm hearing Johnny Marr. I feel like I'm hearing a lot of that mid-80s pop jangle in that. In that
absolutely,
sound.
absolutely.
God, imagine if we had a Rickenbacker at this point.
That's a very, very cool thing. It just smooths out those transients and just gives it the with that sustain. You just get like a really smooth chorus effect over the whole thing, as opposed to the chorus sort of being subjected to the dynamics of the guitar.
And if you had a more evolved, as beautiful as that is, that kind of thump on the front of every note is a little bit disconcerting when it's loud, isn't it? Sure.
Once you started the phrase, it's okay. Once you're in, you're good.
It's like slide guitar. You don't go wrong until you stop.
Right. Okay.
To quote Guthrie Govan. And Johnny Marr.
And Johnny Marr, yeah.
And you should honk The Cure, Robert Smith, and...
I don't know Robert Smith.
Oh, don't you?
No.
I thought you'd met him.
No. But I know he's a guitar player.
Okay.
Reeves Gabrel.
All right. I don't think Reeves played on the 80s stuff.
Reeves didn't play on the 80s stuff. No, Reeves is relatively new.
Right. And number 3, compressor and slap echo.
Okay. This is awesome. So let's dial up a slapback.
Who on earth would choose C sharp to play a rock and roll riff? Who would do that? I think that's as much as we need to say about that.
Yeah.
That's every kind of rock and rolly country chop I've got.
But the really cool thing is, when you those fast passages, when you go back to the flat picking and then the chords, it just keeps everything even, and then that slap becomes a rhythmical thing and it's always there.
Yeah.
But when it's off, when you get to the flat picking is loud and then the fast passages might be down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why the compressor and that style of music with the slapback, I mean, careers have been made on that sound.
Indeed. Would you do me a favour? I'll play a bit of Travisy picking stuff.
Yep.
Can you just take the sound of the echo from nothing to something and then to quite loud?
Yes,
Just to get an idea of the sort of balance of the echo level.
Indeed.
Stop.
Awesome.
I play it every time, and it's the only Travis packing thing I can play. Yeah, absolutely killer when it's subtle.
Yeah, right.
And then it just gets overbearing. So the level of the delay is all important in that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What a sound, man. Actually, this is sounding quite nice. Transit van. These have got Fender Fat 60s pickups in.
Yeah, that was a few
Sounded
people's
pretty
favourite when from the vlog.
Yeah,
Very
sounded
nice.
really good actually. This is a very nice guitar. This.
Very nice.
Okay, Daniel. Tremolo und Reverb.
Okay, why
Number
is this
4.
important? Because there's the position of the tremolo and reverb is important. So if you think about the way that the tremolo and reverb works in the amp, generally you've got the tremolo, like a bias tremolo, operating the power valves, right? and therefore everything goes into the tremolo. It's the last thing that you'll see. So as opposed to the tremolo into a reverb, so you've got all this space around the tremolo, if you put the tremolo after the reverb, you get this classic sort of sound. So if I'm going to add some Lush reverb again for thou.
Shall I play this one and then you can play the next one, which is going to be something different?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's our reverb.
Yeah. Let's try this.
Now with our vibrato, with our tremolo.
Such an evocative sound.
Yes, and even with a really full-on bright reverb, you put the tremolo at the end of it, and it just
hard sounding amps,
Yep.
bridge pickup, Strat, and that takes most of that harshness away.
Right.
Can we hear them the other way around just for a second?
we can. So with the tremolo going into the reverb, you've always got that reverb surrounding everything. Yeah, but with the reverb going into the tremolo, you've that pulse, which is so important to bring everything down. Everything back
cuts
up.
it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I much prefer it tremolo last, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great sound.
Very cool. Okay, number 5 then, Daniel, would be flanger and delay.
Yeah, so this is a sound that I really love flangers. I've managed to squeeze the Electric Mistress on this board. I think this is the most squeezed board I've done, certainly for a very long time.
For that pedal show, I hasten to add, it's certainly not the most squeezed board you've ever done.
No. So here's the delay by itself. Here's the flange. So good.
Such a cool sound.
It's amazing. But the flange into the delay. And why this is different from a chorus to me, the top end frequency in the flanger, when that gets in a trail, in a delay trail, and the way they mix and sort of beat against each other is just absolutely magical. Robert Keeley's just done a delay pedal called Echoes that deliberately has flange in the repeats because that sound is so evocative of things that we know quite well, you know. But for me, Dimension C is a modulation that you use a lot.
Yeah, flanger is the thing.
The flanger is the thing for me, and the way that works with delay is magical.
It is magic. Am I hearing Policey type things in there?
Of course.
Yeah, Andy Summers type
definitely. Well,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. When I first heard Andy Summers, and I had my CE1. I was sure it was a CE1, but I got an email from Pete Cornish saying, "Oh no, young man, indeed it was a."
Let's give an email honk to Pete Cornish. And Andy Summers for that matter.
I've talked to both of them on the phone.
Yeah.
That'll do.
There you go.
Yeah, it's the frequency range in especially that top end thing in the Mistress, in a flanger per se. Just I love that, and
It's a wicked sound.
very wicked.
I tell you what
sound.
I've enjoyed about this show to this point is we've had some lovely clean sounds.
We have.
Just some majestic clean sounds. Quite often we're on the game by this point, to wit. Fuzz and Wah, number 6.
Nice.
Right, Fuzz and I've got to put a guitar strap on for this. I apologise because I can't wah sitting down. So Fuzz and Wah, of course, you can't not think of Jimmy with Fuzz and Wah, but it does cause some problems.
Right.
Because of the way the fuzz pedal and the wah interact. Namely that most fuzz pedals, most traditional fuzz pedals, which is what I'm into and what you're into, want to see the guitar first.
Yes.
But if you put a wah after a fuzz, lots of people do it and it sounds okay, but to me, it's better having the wah first. I prefer that. Not all wah-wahs will do this, and I'll give you a demonstration of that. So on the floor down here, which you can't quite see, in fact, if I move it in there, you might be able to just see it.
There it
is a full-tone Clyde wah, which has a built-in buffer, which talks to the front of this a little bit nicer than if it weren't there. So the sound of the fuzz on its own, here's the clean amp sound. Get that out of the way. Turn the fuzz on. That's the fuzz. That's a Silicon BC183 Analog Man. Here's the sound of the wah on its own. You all know the sound of a wah-wah. If I just turn the buffer off in the wah a minute, and play into the fuzz. It kind of works,
Right.
but it doesn't work as well as if you turn the buffer in the wah on. Now it should work better, I hope. Oh man, that's enough of that. It's such a classic sound.
Yeah, it's visceral.
But getting that wah-wah and the fuzz to work together is really tough.
Yeah.
And you've got to... We've done other shows on that, and we're probably due another show.
Sure.
But fuzz and wah...
There's an element to not having reverb or anything else on with it. That to get that sound, you kind of... You can't let it sit behind anything. Or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, hearing that then, which was just wah and fuzz, and those two amps, no reverb, just like, ah! And... it's that sound that there's nothing to hide behind.
Yeah.
But when you play with authority, the way that you do with the, that stuff, it's like, it's such a cool thing.
It's a great sound.
It is right in the ear hole.
I would be tempted to drown it in reverb and delay as well, but tape echo. But hey, what a sound! What a sound! Sound of ages. Done much better by Jimi Hendrix, of course, but so was everything. Number 7, Dan, treble boost and overdrive.
Yeah. So the reason I've included this is because most people associate a treble booster with people who only use amp gain. And
examples being Brian May,
Tony Iommi,
Rory Gallagher.
Yeah, exactly.
Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
We missing one out?
Well, I don't believe Eric Clapton ever did actually use a treble booster.
No, some people say they did. But
yeah.
Anyway, they're the main bases
the main
covered.
food groups.
I'm going to think of another one in a minute, but
yeah. But having a treble booster and an overdrive pedal. So I've got the Kingsley Page on here now. It's a really lovely valve overdrive pedal, but any warm, natural sounding overdrive pedal, this will work really well with. Basically, the treble booster going into an amplifier that's already gained, what it's doing is those high mids in the treble booster are punching through the compression of the amplifier, right? But it'll do exactly the same job stuck in front of an overdrive pedal, right? So if we...
I think we should hear it just into the amps first.
Okay. On your head, be it. Right, so...
It's a usable sound.
Okay.
And it happens to be driving both of our amps into a bit of overdrive.
Yeah.
And that is its saving grace.
Yes.
If they were clean amps at this point, it would be
straight through us.
Hurt Locker,
like
wouldn't it?
Curry. Yeah. Yeah. And that is, that's still marginally, it's not a sound that I could use happily. It's so, because the amps aren't driving to a point where that becomes a really lovely sound.
You'd be heard, wouldn't you?
Exactly. But if I stick the overdrive pedal on. Now, Beano.
Microphonic pickup in there somewhere, Dan, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Just a bit?
Yeah.
That honky upper mid-range is the sound, isn't it?
Yep.
And whether you're doing that... So, just to recap, what we're using the Page for there is to simulate if your amp was overdriving. So if you've got an amp that doesn't overdrive, stick an overdrive pedal instead.
Yeah, because that is such a classic sound that, if you're doing a gig and, like if I'm doing a gig, I always have a clean, my amps are, clean. That's a pedal platform amplifiers. But that's a sound I love. So I'm still going to use a treble booster, but it's going to be into an overdrive pedal. And that it gives you that. It's epic.
It's wicked, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you we've said this many times. But it's worth repeating. If you buy a treble booster pedal and you think it's broken, put an overdrive pedal after it and all will make sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to change guitars, Daniel.
Okay, actually I need to change guitars
There's
as well.
been a lot of single coils so far, so let's give the humbucker people some love.
So this is really interesting. Rotary speaker and overdrive.
Yeah, where are we? Number 8.
Number 8.
Galloping through them.
We are.
I put this in because this is a sound that you have heard. So we'll put the rotary speaker simulator pedal, which happens to be this vent, after the overdrive. So on its own, the rotary speaker sounds like this. play that. Now, if you stick overdrive into it, it starts to sound like this. Again, I better not play too much of that. But
that's so cool.
That's the sound.
I mean, really
I don't know
is.
if that was a rotary speaker, but it certainly sounds like it to me.
Yeah. So, and they used to. There's a Marshall relationship with it somewhere in the annals of history.
Yeah, so it could be it's just a massively driving Marshall amp that's going into a rotary speaker cabinet.
Right.
And if you think about John Lord from Deep Purple, him with the keyboard player into the Marshall stack and a rotary, that's what you're hearing, isn't it?
Right.
You're hearing a Hammond with a blasting Marshall stack next to it.
Okay.
And so we're kind of in that territory. Try it
play
with
for a bit.
it might be horrible with the fuzz, but I'm quite interested anyway.
I just want to hear it with the different speeds as well. So Fuzz or Overdrive with your rotary. That's killer.
Fuzz, I think. Kind of simulate the sound of a John Lord crushing organ. And if you were to play organ type chords, I would imagine it would sound even more like it.
That's so good.
Nice. Compressor and tremolo.
Okay, you were telling me about this.
Yeah, I'm out on a limb a bit here. Simon and I went to see Johnny Marr.
As you do.
To do something, to make a video a while back.
Johnny, please come on the show.
Yeah, please come on the show, Johnny. Johnny did this thing where he had a compressor on and he had tremolo.
Right.
Can't remember exactly what he played. It was kind of like a rhythm thing, wasn't it? So give me a trem, Dan. Oh, my fault. Definitely choppier and quicker. For anyone screaming "How soon is now" at the screen, it wasn't that. He was playing an improvisation.
Right.
It was something different.
Sure.
I added a bit of gain in there, so we'll just forget the fact I turned on a third pedal, but you can just imagine the amp was crunching a bit more.
Great.
But the way the a bit like you were talking about with the compressor and the
chorus
dimension earlier on. The way it just smooths it all out, and then the tremolo just
really
gives it
even.
that kind of rhythmic. And then you just got to pray the drummer is listening to your
because
tremolo.
then the tremolo, the sound of the tremolo isn't reliant on the dynamics of the guitar.
Yeah.
It becomes this thing all of it, this track all of its own.
Especially with it, I mean, I picked this up deliberately. Johnny plays a Jaguar, obviously, not a jazz master so much, but this guitar has such weird transients.
Right.
It's like where a Strat's quite even and has sustain, this has like a smack and then
nothing,
almost no sustain. And I love it for that. And then, of course, it's got that terribly aggressive treble, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But the compressor takes all of that and just smooths it all out. And it's just a lovely...
Wonderful.
I like that sound.
Yeah,
like
really, really cool.
Okay, moving on. We're going to look at modulation and higher gain sounds.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at phaser, flanger, and very briefly at vibrato.
Yes.
I feel the 80s, Dan. Am I right to be feeling the 80s?
You can feel the 80s. There's no shame in feeling the 80s. Now, I'm a big fan of the 80s. I'm an 80s child. I think
You
maybe...
are not.
Are you? Yeah.
I see. You were a child in the 80s.
I was a child in the 80s.
Please excuse me.
What do you think I meant? I was
I
born
thought you
in the
meant you were
80s.
born in the 80s. Born in the 80s. Simon was born in the 80s. You were probably born in the 90s, weren't you? God.
Were you born in the 80s? Oh, my word.
Yeah. So we've got some typically 80s type overdrive here in the Jam Rattler, which is loosely rat based.
Right.
What a glorious thing that is.
Mega.
Yeah,
Mega.
especially with a... No, I was going to say proper guitar. What I mean is a really nice Les Paul is what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, that'll do.
Thick and throaty and with mid-range.
So the first sound I'm going to do is a phaser
Right.
going into a higher gain pedal.
Cool.
Right? So I've got the phase 90 and I've got the speed turned all the way off. Right? And then you'll recognise this as soon as...
Play that.
Right, but that's that sound. It's not apparent. It's not immediately apparent that there's a phaser because it's so slow.
So did Edward, was it phaser or flanger with Edward then?
He used both.
Did he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know if on that absolute train wreck of a riff that I played.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was on that.
Thank God it wasn't anything like the original, otherwise we'll be copyright struck by now. Yeah, that kind of the modulation in there gives it that almost cocked wah sound at times where it's just sweeping through.
Yeah. It's such a great sound.
So we do that with flanger as well.
Yeah, we can do that with flange as well.
Same thing?
It's the same thing, but now I'm going to put the flange after the drive.
Okay.
So that was the phaser going into the drive, okay? But I want all that top end of the flange. I want that to be all really dramatic.
Right.
So I'm going to put the drive into that.
Okay.
Okay, so...
I mean, if it weren't for the Australianness, the beard and the Les Paul, I'd be hearing Paul Gilbert.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's such a big part of his sound.
I always associate him with that kind of noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a wicked thing.
Yeah.
What about David Lee Roth, Eaterman Smile? I feel like I'm hearing, maybe there was choruses and other stuff on there, but I'm feeling that sort of modulated heavy gain
Right.
was such a big part of that 80s hair metal type of sound.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Edelman Smile. I think was Steve's rig was pretty simple in that.
Yeah. Anyway,
but there was lots of stuff in post.
Yeah.
And when they did Skyscraper, there was loads of stuff.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But that is Paul Gilbert thing. That's a massive part of that sound. But to get the really interesting thing about that is all the top end in that gain, all the fizziness. It's that works with the top end of the flanger.
Yeah.
Right. So having the flanger after that's really important. To get all that
killer sound.
Yeah. Awesome.
Just so evocative of that era.
Right.
Nice.
Now moving on to something a little more esoteric.
Kind of. So we're sticking with higher gain and talking about modulation, but this time we're going to use everyone's most hated modulation, which is vibrato. There are very few players who use vibrato with great confidence.
Okay.
One of them is John Schofield. Mm-hmm. Another might be Stephen Wilson. And another is Michael Landau, where you've kind of got this sick feeling in the sound. So you're playing...
We can honk all those guys, I believe.
We can. John Schofield, Stephen Wilson, and Michael Landau. Nice. A great honour it was to meet all of them too. So we'll do that high gain sound again.
Okay.
With the rattler. Why not? And then if we just turn that off for a sec, if you hear the vibrato as it is, vibrato is one of those most sickening effects there is, right? So you would think, and we've said this before, but for anyone who doesn't know, vibrato is chorus without the dry sound.
Yeah.
So if you added the dry sound back into that, it would sound like chorus. Anyway, so let's say you're playing your solo. That was maybe a little bit more extreme.
So what you did then that was really cool, you turned the depth down to control the amount of pitch movement, because it started off really like a semitone,
really sick.
But just having that bit of movement without any dry signal is really cool.
Yeah, it is. That was probably a bit extreme. So if we take it down just again, so there's much less depth. Really hard without any delay or reverb. It's a great sound.
I like it though.
Yeah. You wouldn't necessarily play a whole like 3 choruses of a blues solo with that sound on, but just the added in the crunch moment. I love that sound. I really love that sound.
Just wonderful.
And it takes, stick on your brave boots and use it one night and watch everyone go. It's usually how it goes down.
But anything that pulls you out of your normality and puts you in a different place to get you playing something different.
Yeah, and it always makes me want to do those kind of, again,
semitone,
totally Landau inspired, but the kind of discordant, ugly intervals that make everyone go.
Yeah, and how can we make it more discordant and ugly? Oh, put some vibrato on it.
Yeah, and then you play it again and they go, he actually meant to play that. I love it.
Wonderful.
All right, which brings us to the end, Dan.
Wow.
Hopefully there's some inspiration there. The one we're going to go out on is reverse echo.
Yeah. And anything else you like.
Yeah, anything else you like.
Fuzz and reverse echoes.
You'll know this from the Beatles. You'll know it from Jimi Hendrix. You'll know it from all kinds of music down the years where... let's just explain quickly what a reverse delay is. So if you have the delay and the reverse, if you have the clean sound and the reverse delay on at the same time, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
Yeah. So you've got, it's inspired by those reverse tape guitar solos, I guess. So if you think of George Harrison and Jimi Hendrix, they would literally take the tape off, turn it upside down, the track would play in reverse, they'd play a solo, so when the track was playing the correct way, you'd get this reverse backwards guitar. A reverse delay pedal, what it will do is it will take a portion of that and reverse it, and keep taking portions and keep reversing them.
Yeah.
So the longer that you have the time on the reverse delay, the longer those portions are.
Yes. The problem being, of course, if you've got a 20-second delay for your whole solo, you won't hear the solo until 20 seconds. So it needs to be a bit shorter than that.
All right. So let's have a listen to some reverse delay.
Yeah. So this is with the dry signal in. This is what reverse delay sounds like.
Just awesome.
It's just an awesome sound. So now if we take out all the clean guitar sound, this is what you hear. Bit of this clean in there again.
Love that song.
Somebody's bombed my octopus's garden, that's called.
That is so cool.
Should not make jokes about bombing things. Anyway, yes, that is cool. So I think if you found a delay time, because what I was hearing then was a very distinct cutoff.
Right. Yeah.
Between the two things. How long is that delay time, just out of interest? What if we can you shorten and lengthen the delay time?
Yes, absolutely.
And let's just see, just finally.
Okay. So
there are people all over India like shivering with the ragas I've just played. Going, you can't, you shouldn't play that. That's not playable for you.
Well, I liked it.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
It's cool. It's a great sound. And again, if you put your Brave boots on, stick it on one night, play a solo with it. Or even, actually, even if you're, again, Beatles are great exponents of this. You just do it, and Hendrix for that matter, you just do it under the verses of someone's, she's singing and you're lightly in the background wigging away on your reverse delay.
You're simply the best.
Please do this. Please do this. Make it your mission to do this. We can't upset singers with volume anymore, so maybe obtuse effects is the way to do it.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Good.
That was really great.
It was. Obviously, there are many classic effects combinations, many of which we will have missed. So maybe we do this again one day if there's some things you want to hear.
Put down in the comments a couple of effects combinations that you like.
Yeah, and we'll put another list together and do it again.
Be great.
That was great. What was your favourite one, Dan?
The fuzz and the vent I thought was killer. But every time I do a high gain thing into the phaser on it just
Great
it's
sound, isn't it?
So cool. It's so cool.
I think delays and reverbs and tremolos and reverbs for me, because they make me want to play less notes.
Right, okay.
And you just want to play those just kind of almost cowboy spaghetti type things and all that. I love that.
Yeah.
Nice.
The compressor and tremolo thing that you're doing I thought was magic. Such
I'm
a great
gonna
sound.
mess around with that, work on that a bit more, because we were sat there watching him doing it, and it was a mesmerising experience.
Excellent. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. A massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. Also, to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Anderson's Music, very good friends of ours. They are too.
Very good friends of ours.
Yes.
And also our dear friends in Australia.
Matt Harris and our very good friends at Pedal Empire at Brisbane, Queensland.
Yes. And we have some links, Nick.
We do. If you click down the video description, there are a number of interesting factors about that description. One is that it has timings and sections. It's a bit late now because you've watched the whole video, but we should do this at the top of the video.
Okay, let's try that.
There are timings to the video, and there are also links. If you click on them, we earn a bit of affiliate revenue, which is great because it helps fund the production of the show. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic week. Oh, and also, don't forget, we have a tour coming up with Sir Andy of Timmins.
Yes, from the 8th to the 12th of April 2020. If you watch this video before then and you live in the UK, both of which are slightly unlikely. But
yeah, well, but we're in Liverpool, Birmingham, Whitney and London. Hurrah!
Thatpedalshow.com.
Yes, and if you buy tickets at thatpedalshowstore.com, where you can also get T-shirts.
Oh, that was nice.
Like that?
Yeah.
It was very good. I was working on that for a little while.
That was really nice.
Yeah. The more we talk about it, the more...
Yeah.
So... T-shirts, merch, strings.
Buy stuff. Helps fund the show.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Have a fantastic week, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.